Morning bell. Thank you for being patient in the reminders. Really don't have too much feedback. That was great. I loved the table arrangement, but just remember now that you are on the right side of them and in the rolly chair to really take advantage of that roll for if or when he starts kind of reaching out at you. You can push back real quick so he doesn't even make that connection, and there's no need to try and either, coach his arm down or touch it down or anything like that. I would even push him back from the table a little bit further because it still seemed like when he was poking, he wasn't extending too much. And then that way, it gives him more of that range of motion. Keep an eye on those eyes. Always coach them on the board before you kind of start that prompting. There were a couple times that he seemed to kind of elevate his vocalization and was a little more pokey poke. And I know it seems backwards and you're really wanting to do those semis, but in those cases where he seems to be kind of really high and poking all over, and if you're having to prompt super duper heavy, you can pull out the threes and just say like, all right, let's do the first 3 letters on the threes, just so he can really feel that brain-body connection and hopefully have a few nice and easy, successful pokes, and then you can bounce back up to the 26. And it's no big deal, and just tell him like, hey, this isn't forever, this is just, what my mentor told me. I just want to see if this helps you feel a little bit more grounded and kind of in your body and in control. I really liked the little high five break. That was fun. I would try to stop yourself from when he has to reset his arm, instead of physically touching it, just hand down, hand on your lap, reset, or I'm going to lift the board, and when I lift the board for my reset, let's see your hand down, and when I drop the board, eyes on it, lift your hand up and go. There were a couple times too he was doing the double poke, and as we're trying to advance and stuff, instead of allowing that, just say 1 poke, forward, back, in and out. And I also think if he's further away from the board, then that natural motion of having to poke all the way with the arm a little bent, he'll just immediately pull back instead of it being right there and him kind of getting stuck in that loop. And then that was really it for my notes. Sensory breaks. You're doing good at not repeating, don't worry. And it is hard, I still find myself doing it a lot. But I always just try and kind of, take a deep breath and think of other ways to support his motor or whatever you're trying to get through, instead of obviously whatever phrase you're saying might not be working. Then just think of another way to say it. Yes, semi-opens are good, but I would like to see a little more rhythm and flow and accuracy with those greens, and a little less gestural prompting. But if you want to kind of try to do like 1 or 2 semi-opens at the end of each session, so he's really warmed up, he's been working 20-30 minutes, and then you can try 1 or 2 at the end, because that's like kind of how it works when you're breaking into open. I have a few clients right now who have gotten a few sentences here or there, but I always wait at the very end of their 45 minutes or an hour session, and then I give myself 5 or 10 minutes because it can take a while when you're first breaking into that open world. But once I feel that, they're super accurate, super regulated, sorry, my hands, then I'll do it at the very end. So you can adjust that goal to say, I'm going to try for 2 semis at the end of each session. Or if it's going really well, you could try maybe 1 at each chunk. But for these next couple of sessions, just try and make it at the end so he's super duper ready to go. And then also make sure that the semis that you're asking are only 2 options, and hopefully the beginning of each word of the options are at very opposite sides of the board. And yeah, that's great. He didn't run away from his chair. Work through dysregulation. His posture is getting a lot better. I think there were a couple times his arm was kind of on his knee, so just be aware of that. But yeah, I think what will really help you the most is just scooting him back a little bit further from the table so he has that full range, and really trying to encourage just 1 poke and back. But other than that, you're good to go.